J Akbar, for many a disgraced man, for some others a hypocrite who was caught with his pants down, and for a tiny minority to which I belong, a fallen angel. In short, J Akbar is a very polarizing figure in India. He provokes as much disgust as curiosity. But I'm not going to talk about J Akbar's personal life or disgrace that he suffered in 2018. Rather, I'm going to review one of his books. The name of the book I'm going to review today is A Mirror to Power. This book came out in 2015, 1 year after Modi government swept into government. This book is a collection of 80 articles which were written over a period of 15 years, from early noughties 2001 up till 2015. This book is divided into 7 sections. Each and every section contains 8 to 10 articles. All articles in this book are very short in length, maximum 2 to 3 pages maximum. There is only one article which runs into 12 pages, and that article is on 4 poets of India, of 18th and 19th century India. This book, written by J Akbar, which was published in the year 2015, marks a radical shift in J Akbar's personal and ideological life. Those who have read J Akbar will know that J Akbar, before he joined BJP, was known for his passionate advocacy of liberalism and secularism. J Akbar is the same man who wrote biography of Nehru, the making of India, where he was full of praise for builder of modern nation. That is his, these are his words. These are his words for Nehru. This is his verdict on Nehru. In that book, J Akbar had drawn a parallel between Nehru and Jinnah, and J Akbar had come to a conclusion that Jinnah's Pakistan floundered and failed because Jinnah had surrendered to fanaticism and Islamic bigotry, whereas Nehru was able to build a modern nation because he adopted modern ideas like secularism, liberalism, and a respect for institutions. J Akbar is the same man who wrote a book on caste and communal conflict in India. The name of that book was Riots After Riots, a case study of communal and caste strife in India. In that book, he did not mince his words about RSS and BJP. J Akbar had called BJP and RSS a grave threat to the idea of India. But this book, A Mirror to Power, which as I said earlier, came out in 2015, marks a radical shift in his ideology, because it feels, when you go through this book, it feels that J Akbar has sacrificed his ideas and his ideology on the altar of power. He not only refuses to criticize Modi. Whenever he has to say something about Modi, it is high praise and trying to portray Modi as a prophet of modern India. Now, this book, which is a collection of 80 articles, always points fingers at others, those who are not in power. The name of the book is A Mirror to Power, but it fails to point a finger at those who are in power. So J Akbar talks about each and everything under the sun except Modi and Modi's politics and Modi's BJP. J Akbar criticizes UPA 1, UPA 2. J Akbar criticizes even Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi. But he always fails to tell us that what is it that drives Modi's brand of politics? What is it that drives India under Modi? In this book, J Akbar comes out as little hypocritical as well. He tells us a story from 1980s when Rajiv Gandhi overturned Supreme Court's verdict on Shah Bano. J Akbar calls that moment a disaster for India, a disastrous moment for Islamic Muslim community. He says that Rajiv Gandhi's decision to overturn Supreme Court's verdict, which went in favor of Shah Bano, it turned Muslim community back by at least 100 years. Now, what is wrong with that criticism? Of course, that decision was wrong. But what is hypocritical, what is wrong about MJ Akbar pointing finger at Rajiv Gandhi is the fact that there are many people, colleagues of MJ Akbar, who have claimed that it was MJ Akbar who convinced Rajiv Gandhi to overturn that Supreme Court decision which was against Shah Bano's husband, saying that if we do not overturn this decision, then Muslims will feel alienated in this country and they cannot afford to let that happen. This claim, which has been made by many colleagues of MJ Akbar, those who were contemporaneous of MJ Akbar during 1980s, this claim has not been contested by MJ Akbar, this claim has not been disputed by MJ Akbar, so we have no reason to doubt these claims made by different people cutting across the line of ideology. So in this book, you have that feeling that MJ Akbar is being little hypocritical about pointing finger at someone who is not there to defend himself. MJ Akbar is crying holier than thou despite evidence to the contrary. In this book, you also come across many articles which give you a sense of the shift in mood of the nation. This nation has become very intolerant when it comes not only to minority but also criticism. MJ Akbar was a man who was known for speaking truth to power. This is a book which is a collection of 80 articles written over a period of 15 years. But what is stunning about this collection of articles is the fact that there is not a single article which is critical of Modi. Now, those who have followed MJ Akbar for many years will realize that MJ Akbar is the same man who called Modi a Hitler when riots in Gujarat broke out. This book contains articles from 2001-2002. Why is it that this book doesn't have a single article from 2001 and 2002 or 2003 when MJ Akbar was a bitter critic of Modi? Why is MJ Akbar self-censoring himself? Why is he only praising his new party? Why is he praising his leaders? Why he cannot summon up enough courage to give us a constructive criticism of Modi as a Chief Minister of Gujarat from 2002 to 2014 and then as a Prime Minister from 2014 to 2015. This book came out in 2015. We don't know, but when you go through this book, you have this feeling that MJ Akbar has sacrificed not only his ideology but also his courage on the altar of unhinged power. I am calling it unhinged power because it is exactly what I am saying. It is unhinged power, it is deranged power. The first section of this book, which is called A Fundamental Shift, quite aptly ends with an article on Narendra Modi's first Independence Day speech. That article is called Modi Speaks to and of People of India. In that article, MJ Akbar has written that Modi broke away from convention and he spoke directly to 1.25 billion people of India, firing up the imagination. You expect that kind of language because you have moved to a new party, you have no other option but to praise him. But what we do not get is perspective. What we do not get from this journalist is a context that how was first Independence Day speech delivered by Modi radical. In that speech, Modi had declared liquidation of 5-year planning commission and he had promised us Niti Aayog. Now what Niti Aayog did to India, we still have to find out. We are still figuring out, but we don't have much idea about what Niti Aayog did in these 6 years. But MJ Akbar is refusing to give us perspective, to bring in context. Now it is MJ Akbar who always used to say that there is no text without a context. So you have that feeling when you go through the first section that these articles are without context. There are many articles in this book which are very critical of UPA and UPA 2, and you keep asking yourself that why we are being told about what UPA did and what UPA did not do. Why we are not being told what Modi did as Chief Minister and what does he plan to do as Prime Minister of India. It's a very defensive thing to accuse other, to criticize other, and refusing to talk about yourself. Those who are not insecure about their own power and about their own ability will not criticize other, they will talk about themselves. So in that way this book comes out as highly defensive. There are chapters where MJ Akbar has talked about different things. There is an article on cricket where MJ Akbar talks about Stuart Broad refusing to walk back despite being caught behind, and MJ Akbar asks, is winning everything? He says that morality whispers, money whispers, whereas conscience, money shouts, whereas conscience whispers. Now when you read this book you feel exactly the same thing, that money shouts in case of MJ Akbar, power and money is shouting, whereas conscience is merely whispering. He is refusing to turn his gaze inwards and reflect on the things which have been going on in this country since his master Modi took over as Prime Minister of India. There is only one article in this book which is undated, and that article is on Sheikh Abdullah of Kashmir. The name of the article is Atishe Chinar, the fire of Chinar. In that article, MJ Akbar is full of praise for Sheikh Abdullah. Those of you who might have read a book by MJ Akbar called Kashmir Behind the Veil will know that MJ Akbar always praised Sheikh Abdullah, always praised National Conference. MJ Akbar was very skeptical of Delhi's way of dealing with Kashmir. So in this book also you come across an article where he is full of praise for Sheikh Abdullah, but that article, the only article in this book which is not dated, and it makes you wonder, it makes you think that is MJ Akbar not dating his article out of fear of his master Narendra Modi? Would Narendra Modi have would he have taken umbrage? Would Modi have been offended if he had known that MJ Akbar is praising Sheikh Abdullah, whom Modi thinks was a traitor? Then there is an article on Nelson Mandela, where MJ Akbar writes about rise of Nelson Mandela and how he was a saint. And when you read, it brings a smile to your face. Why? Not because you come across a new fact about Mandela. You smile because what MJ Akbar writes about Nelson Mandela could be applied to Narendra Modi in a very different way. MJ Akbar writes that heroes don't need sycophants. Nelson Mandela was not a midget. He was a hero. He never needed sycophants around him. And it sets you thinking, is Narendra Modi a midget? Is Narendra Modi a dwarf who is not able to take criticism? Why is it that he is always surrounding himself with sycophants? Yes sir, yes man, yes Prime Minister. Why is it that he is not able to take constructive criticism in his stride? Why is it that MJ Akbar, who was known for his intellect, why is MJ Akbar not able to present a constructive criticism of his government? A necessity for any democratic country. Why is it that MJ Akbar had to change his tone? Why he had to change his character to ingratiate himself with the power that be? So these are the questions which come to your mind, and you ask yourself that why is it that a book which is a collection of 80 articles running into 300 pages, 304 pages to be exact, why is it that there is not a single article which is critical of BJP or Narendra Modi? The book claims to be a mirror to power, but actually it is a mirror to opposition. Now opposition is not in government. Why is MJ Akbar talking about things which are bygone? Let bygone be bygone and tell us what you are doing. So what is my verdict on this book? My verdict is quite harsh. I am saying that MJ Akbar has prostituted his pen for a small piece of pie of unbridled and unhinged power. I know that is harsh verdict, but this is what came to my mind when I read this book. Will I ever recommend this book to you? This book costs 599 rupees. My answer is absolutely no. You should never waste 599 rupees for reading criticism of opposition. We wanted criticism of government, in which MJ Akbar fails miserably. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.